Right, hello. So if you can see, there's absolutely no way I can read the text on the screen using these because they're focused for about 3 yards away, I think, and you can't adjust the distance focus. But these don't actually amplify night because they're Gen 0 night vision. So what that actually means is basically you can use them in a lit room with, I don't think, any risk of damaging the units. There's barely any blemishes on these considering they're from the 1960s. So I'll flip these up so I can actually read the chat. But hello, everybody. All right, Raydon. Hello, Richard. Hello, OK9. All right, you can actually get these in the Czech Republic, I believe, quite easily, OK9. It would just be because these are Polish PNWs, technically. That's the Polish one, yeah, so it's a PNW. Yeah, of course it's a Soviet tank helmet, Braden. That's how they built these. Tank helmets with night vision units built on from. Yeah, weirdly, B-52 crop duster, these don't really amplify light at all. They use a very, very wide range of visible light and infrared. They're Gen 0. So what you'll notice I've done there is just put an infrared torch on the top. And now I can actually use it, wherever, using an infrared torch. But yeah, that's basically how these work by default. They don't amplify light. I'll see if I can demonstrate them with the webcam at some point. Actually, that's probably going to be very difficult. But what these do is, if I can actually get that to look through it. It might be that that's looking at the wrong angle to see through. So how these work is if I flick that IR light back on, you'll be able to see that these are very, very sensitive to infrared. But they don't actually really pick up, regular light very well. So I can probably have these on with no problems indoors. I've got them just plugged into a power supply behind me. Yeah, they're good units, Brighthole, for what they are. I think the only reason people don't like these is they buy them thinking they're basically night vision units, and they're not. Well, they are night vision units, but not in the conventional sense because they're Gen 0. They're like World War II tech night vision. Right, so yeah, I'm really happy with them. This is a really comfy thing. The thing I like about them, look, is this goes to my eyes really well. In terms of, actually how the metal band goes. Whereas I've used a lot of the units like this where you can never get them close to your eyes. So I can actually wear these properly, which is good. So I've got to adapt them. My nice torch came today. This one, which, funnily enough, the webcam can just about see this. As you can see, but to the human eye, this one's pretty much invisible, but they're very, very visible on the PNVs. So what I can do is if I shine that on the wall behind me, you might actually see that. You can actually see them being picked up by the PNVs there. And that's because the PNV is very sensitive to 900 nanowatt range infrareds. Yeah, Riley, it's Soviet night vision, the very, very first gen of Soviet night vision. Gen Zeros, as we call them. This is technically a Polish unit, but yes, it's a Soviet PNV-57A, which is tank crewman's night vision model, 1957A. Yep. That's cool, Brighthole. I'll go to the comments properly in a minute, but yeah, I got it today. I bought it off Stug. I swapped it with Stug, who's in the comments, for a Avon M50 gas mask. So he wanted the mask and had a set of these. I quite wanted a set of these, so it was a good trade. Yeah, it's good, Stug. At the moment, lots of posts between bits of the UK and whatever seems to be very quick. Yeah, exactly. Very powerful IR lights. Exactly. That's very easy to do now, OK9, with modern stuff. Because yeah, the PNV-57E is a Gen 1 Plus light amplifying unit. The Gen 0 PNV-57A is the one that's basically designed to be used with IR floodlights. I mean, you can get these relatively cheap for what they are, Matthew. It's just they'll probably be no use to you if you want to amplify light. Well, if you can get brand new, military and police grade night vision, that'd be pretty damn cool. But I don't think most people can get hold of those very easily. Here's the thing. If I want to use a night vision unit as a night vision unit, this is my really, really good one. This is a Gen 2 Plus. But if I want to fuck around with night vision, this is one of the coolest units to do it with. All right, cool, Bright. I'm glad that I have an infectious habit of making you want to buy surplus that's not always very cheap. I imagine it would contaminate drinking water if it got into it, Josh, yes. Yeah, they're all in the box I got with these OK9. In the other room, there's the metal crates Doug shipped them in, and all the IR filters are in there. But yeah, the cool thing is that, say, I don't know how well I can demonstrate this, so I'll leave the cap on for safety reasons, but right, most night vision units today use 850 nanometer IRs. So if we flick this on, this is without an IR light. If I use its inbuilt IR light, that's that one, right? So on with the IR, right? That's 850 nanometer IR. Right. If we now basically, I want to show you something. So this, look, see that lighting up? The PNV-A can see 840 nanometer completely fine because you can see the light going on behind them. Look, you can see that's lighting up behind them with that. See, so that can see that bandwidth fine. Now, if I get this bandwidth, the 940 sort of bandwidth, shine that on my face, you probably can't see that. You can probably see that's nowhere, not picking that up anywhere near as good. So despite the fact that this is a really bright night vision torch in 940 nanometer, that can't see it very well, right? However, as you can see from this, that can see it just fine because this has a crazy infrared observance range. I think it was 800 to 1200 nanometer this can pick up, which beats modern US military stuff by quite a lot because of, you know, funny vintage night vision stuff. I'm not sure how much these are on eBay at the moment. Schlemmerphon, is it? Okay. I don't think these ones have the inbuilt communication stuff in because I have got a tank helmet that has like the audio cords coming out on the throat mic. This one doesn't. I think this one is literally just for observing. It's got a good bit of noise cancelling on it though. In the other room, I've got some lotion, Mike, but not in here. Yeah. It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again. Yeah. It's very Buffalo Bill, isn't it? I mean, without the tank helmet, if you just had these on a little headband, but yeah. So what I've got coming tomorrow is I've got a power bank that I can power these, like I can put on my belt and power them with, for if I want to go out with them. And for indoors, I've got one where I can just plug it. It's a USB to 12 volt output, so I can just literally power them on that without using batteries. All right, bots. I'll try and check that out later if I remember, but I probably will forget. Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Talise, that these are fun to mess about with, aren't they? Or are you talking about a different set? And yeah, it is a rabbit hole hobby, like a lot of this military surplus stuff. Like I've said, if I want to use night vision for serious stuff, this is my favorite unit at the moment. The one that I bought off Hype, the the Chinese NNVT unit, because it's pretty good resolution for what it is. When I've tested it in dark rooms with the Gen 3, I'll do a video on this, but when it's actually in a dark room, basically the Gen 3 is higher resolution, less scintillation, but both can see the exact same stuff. So for the most part, this is a bit more practical for bright source protection there. But I bought these to fuck about with different Spectrum IR stuff, and because I wanted a Gen 0 device for the sake of it. Is it a Gen 1 or a Gen 1 Plus, do you know, 304 Tactical? Because personally, I would never buy a Gen 1 unit if you wanted night vision to be useful. Gen 1 Plus is where it starts getting good. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some all-right Gen 1 units, but Gen 1 is going to pretty much always need an IR illuminator on. Yeah, exactly. That's why I got this, to mess about with basically different IR wavelengths, because obviously this has such a weirdly wide IR spectrum on this, and it's got the retro cool factor. So, you know, it's fun for me to mess about with, you know, because obviously, yeah, I'm going to use my Gen 2 Plus when I want to actually use night vision, but the thing is, because this doesn't really amplify light, I can't see any danger of having it on now, because it's, you know, I can't read your comments. It's the focus distance on this is, I'd say, about 2 meters away. Like, beyond that, it doesn't focus very well in front of that, but you can't actually adjust the focus on this. But yeah, but even looking at the screen, that's not too bright for this thing, because of the fact that, you know, I wouldn't look directly at the ceiling light with it, but because this doesn't really amplify light, as said, let me just see if I can show you. See, like, if you're looking around in the room, like if I go towards the ceiling light, yeah, like that's bright. You wouldn't want to look at it, but most of the stuff in the room just appears like room brightness, because it just pretty much sees the ceiling light as a 1:1 of what it actually is. Yeah, I was doing, if you didn't see, Tilly, so I was doing that a little bit earlier with, I'll definitely have to get something closer to the end of the wavelength, but this is a 940 nanometer, and my pulsar can barely see this, but this sees it absolutely fine. So I definitely want to go to like 1200 nanometer if I can, just because that's like the far end of where this can pick up. So what I've just done to make this practical look is just put a little IR light on, you know, the far end like that. So just sits on the top of the tank crewman's hat. So yeah, you can pretty much just walk around with this on, but I'll need to be good to put a higher wavelength IR on this. But yeah, that way I can, you know, see in the dark without other people seeing me. And only one of these, both tubes have got a blem on them, a slightly bigger blem on the left one and a very, very small blem on the right one, but both are pretty, you know, not very scary looking blems. Right, I'll flick the power supply off for this now. I've had that running on 13 volts because it seems slightly happier running on 13 volts than it did for 12 volts for some reason. But there we go. That's the power supply done. I'll unplug that later. It can just sit behind me there for now. But yeah, that's a nice, cool unit, that. I think they had names like that, plain mod, yeah. Not as loud, Tilly's, it just goes sort of because obviously, although it's meant to be high voltage, I think it's 18 kilovolts these run at. The transformer doesn't seem to whine on it weirdly. It makes more of like a clicking noise. But yeah, I've been overall pretty impressed with this. The weird thing about this one is, which I really like, and I don't know why they didn't do this with the 57E, is this is a much better mount on this one. In terms of, like, you know, you can get this mount exactly where you want it. So you can even have it go into the helmet if you wanted to with this mount. So it basically doesn't matter what shape or size your head is, you will be able to get these to go up to your eyes with this sort of mount on it. Whereas the one on the PNV 57E is nowhere near as flexible. It's more like a one of the little, what's it, like butterfly, whatever they call them, wing nut type things on that one. But yeah, I suppose with that one, it's because that, you know, it's not amplifying lights. It's probably not pushing the tubes as hard in it. That could be at OK9. I mean, with some of these, there's always a bit of slippage, because with that, it's got a transformer option on where you can switch between 12 and 24 volt, like a lot of old vehicle units did. The thing I really like about this one is it actually came with an adapter for a cigarette lighter in the packaging. So I could actually run it off my car if I wanted to. Whereas, you know, like the old, the PNV-57E did not come with one of those, which was pretty cool. Do magnets stuff up night vision goggles? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, I'll get the box in. Hang on, I've got a coffee. I'll get the box in and show you all the stuff it came with, because I don't think Stugs even looked through half the stuff. If he has, he's packed it away very neatly. Let me go get it. Right, so Stug had one of these in the pack, which is pretty handy if you want to run it off of 8 D cells, although I probably won't use that, but that is a handy thing. Right, so let's look at the box. I wouldn't want to find out if magnets fuck up night vision, Riley, because that'd be a bit expensive. So there we go. There's the crate. Let's get it open, which is easier said than done because it's got bloody strong clasps on this. There we go. Right. So, oh, yeah, okay. Right, if I can get open. There we go. So here's the crate. So in here, you've got some, I think, IR filters and other things in here. I haven't opened all these yet. I'll look at them properly at some point. Oh, unless that's a replacement tube type thing in there. Let's have a look. So something in here. Definitely some parts in here. I don't know exactly what, because a lot of them have corroded with age. But there's something in here with like rubber in and some washers or something. That's interesting, Brighton. Rugging up on the job there. Let's see what's in these papery packets. If I can work out how these actually open. Ah, they open at the end, okay. Any idea what this is? Like a replacement fuse or something? I have no idea. Capacitors, maybe? I can't tell. H at one end, A at the other. Can't tell, personally. Ah, you couldn't figure out what they were either, Stug, okay. Oh, it says X65 on it. If that helps, but that might just mean made in 1965. Like 2 pins, essentially. But almost like essentially 1 pin on each end, I'd guess, because I guess it's just to make a contact one side to another side. It's a capacitor, do you reckon, Tactical Pirate? I only have 3 DP2s, Keaton or Radiac Maniac, and yes, the 3rd DP2 did have a control source in it, which I've said before. I said we won't talk about that too much on here because of, you know, weirdos. All right, Sharavi. Yeah, so as a few of you say, it's probably a spare capacitor. So let's pop that back in there anyway. Yeah, so a tube or a capacitor, everybody's saying that knows about electronics, so I'll believe them because they know what they're talking about, not me. Right, so let's put those back. So that's the spares in there. If I can get them flush in again now. So that's that. Right, under this belt in here, if I just show you. So there's a belt with some, I think they're the IR filters for headlights in there, or spotlights. But yeah, this is the coolest part of it, right? So this lets you plug 2 of the night vision units in to a cigarette lighter. Handy. That's very handy. So you could get arrested if you want. You could plug this in, run your PNV-57As in your car, and then you could get the IR filters, put them over your headlights, and drive around when nobody else can see you, but you can see. But the police wouldn't be very happy. That's really windy, is it, where you are, Radiac Maniac? So that's that. There's 2 caps for the end of the night vision, which I don't really have any need for, but they'll stay in the box. And then, yes, we've got the amps. So let's get the bout off of them. some fuck off huge IR filters. Ah, this one's got a crack in it. Oh, yeah, that's broken glass coming out there. Yeah, some big IR filters in here. Right, we'll wrap this broken one back up, I reckon, before I cut myself on glass. Let's have a look at the next one. So let's put that there. So let's have a look at the next one, see if there's no broken glass on the next one. Because there's a set of 4 in here, I think. That's the point of them, Radiac Maniac. Right. Good news is I don't think this one is broken. Yeah, this one's never been opened by the look of it, because the paper's stuck to it. That paper's going to get ripped off, I'm afraid, because it's not coming off very well. But there we go, massive IR filter. So you can't see shit now. But what this is designed to do, if I get a regular flashlight, it might have been the courier that did it stuck. It's not too big a problem, because I'm not going to have much use for it, but it's useful to at least have a couple that aren't broken. Is if I get a bright light, do I have a bright torch handy? Most of my flashlights are in the other room in my bed. But I'll show you what I can do. The person keeps spamming I'm a check. Hello, I'm a check. So if I get a torch on, right, on my phone, get this. What these are designed to do is basically only let through light that's infrared. Although they're designed to be used on very high power bulbs, I imagine. Let's see if I can get it to work on. We can take that off actually. Don't know if that's even going to show any of that through there. Don't know if you can see any of that, but the point of this is for But yeah, what this does is it basically... Oh, I've turned the light off now, look. It's designed so visible light is turned into infrared, basically, with a big filter. I've got a better way of demonstrating this if people want to see it. Yeah, exactly. Because it's designed for basically floodlights, isn't it? This sort of thing, like tank floodlights are those. I'm glad you find it interesting what you're saying. Right, let me just put this back in the box so it doesn't get cracked. All right, that's that one. Let me get my torch with an IR filter set to show you what that's essentially doing. So yeah, there's a NATO right-angle torch, right? Like the ones the US used to use and Britain used to use, one of those. In the base, there's some colour filters. If the bit with the base actually unscrews properly. Is it? I think it's unscrewing the battery compartment there. I want this bit to unscrew. There we go. Right, so in the base of here, you've got colour filters, right? So let's have a look at the colour filters. What we've got here, I've got some from a couple of torches here. We've got a red filter. We've got a blue filter. And we've got a green filter, I think the other one is. Oh, sorry, I've got 2 red filters and a green filter. Because for some reason, every set I buy always has a red filter in, but sometimes green and blue varies. So there's a green filter, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get a red filter and the green filter. And we're going to put those together, right? And that's doing the same thing, look, yeah? Where it looks almost like a solid thing you can't see through. But that's an IR filter. So what I can now do, let's get one of the IR torches. And let's see if I can demonstrate this to the webcam. See that? You can see the IR through it. You can't see anything else. So that's what those are designed to do. Essentially, they're IR filters. They only allow IR to go through. So the idea is you put on your vehicle, it's giving out IR light. People can't see that light with their eye, but your night vision picks it up. Yeah, Fiesta Wear in the background, BF. I've only ever bought a Faru Strelka once, because they used to charge quite a lot for postage to the UK. It's a lot better than it used to be. Right, Fuzzy? Yeah, public streams are weird, Fuzzy. Right, Dan. I've been showing off some cool new toys today. And when I say cool, I mean ancient Soviet shit. So let's put the filters in. So what we'll do with this torch, drop them both into the filter container, screw them on. Whoop. There we go. And now this torch is now infrared. It's not quite cutting off all the visible light spectrum, but basically what happens is that when you get your night vision unit out and look through it, this is a lot more visible to night vision. Although weirdly, this is the right wavelength where the pulsar can't see it very well. Let me try it on my Gen 2. Dropping everything. So yeah, let me try it with my Gen 2. Yeah, that's more visible to my Gen 2, but I bet this would actually be more visible to that other one than this. That's a good point, OK9. The only thing you have to worry about, Live Corpse, is the damage to the straps over time doing that, because the mask's stretched out. You can just literally stuff them with paper if you want to. But, yeah, that's my damaged one, isn't it? That one. Is that the damaged one, or was that? Yeah, that's the damaged one. I'll later on see if I can get all the loose bits of glass out from that and then just rewrap the broken glass and put it somewhere else. No, night vision goggles of Gen 1 to Gen 3 or Gen 0 completely legal in the UK. Despite lots of other things being restricted, night vision goggles do not have any restrictions in the UK. What were you asking, Grant? Your comment's not showing up for me. That's strange. My one, Claire, feels all right. Like, it's not as good as the strong M50. Is it the blue one you've got or the old M50? Because my M50 is very solidly built. I've not had a chance to go out and test it yet. If you wanted one for light amplification, Feral, it's not very good for that because it's a Gen 0. If you want one that's really cool for messing about with IR lights, it's very cool. My favourite one's the Shums. Now, although he's been blocked, every time somebody says dirty now, I can't help thinking, dirty, dirty, dirty. Have you watched Inbred yet, Mike? No, Stug, I've not tested them outside yet, because obviously they came today. And annoyingly, when I try and run it off a 9 volt, 9 volts doesn't give it quite enough juice to display properly. Like if I run it off the 12 volts, it will power on and work properly. 9 volts, you can hear it coming to life, but it doesn't really boot up. Hence why I was saying 13 volts on the like, you know, variable power output thing, 13 to 14 volts seems to be where it gets to its sort of best illumination. I think it said 60s on it, Eintons. Let's get it back out. Where did I pop him? There I did. Let me put both these lights on again because I turned them off, didn't I? Right, hang on a second. $1966. I mean, yeah, they are cheaper than the MSA style ones, Claire. I mean, the MSA 410 is the best of my half face mask full stop, but that one's still better made than some of the 3M ones. Oh, grey. Yeah, because my one's like the see-through, like white grey silicon. I don't think that message came through, Grant. You're probably saying something YouTube doesn't like. You can get a PNV-57 for 30 quid, can you, on Allegro? I know what Allegro is because people talk about that for old Warsaw Pack stuff. Let me look. The name doesn't spring to mind, DF, but I might have seen it. Oh, is that the one with the voice diaphragm on it? I've never used one of those. They look like they might be all right. But yeah, I've never used one. At the moment, they're about €70, it seems, on a lot of stockists, and they're out of stock because of Corona. Well, I said what my thoughts on it were earlier. I've not used it outside and tested it. They're going to be pretty useless if you want light amplification, right? Because these don't really amplify light at all. They're Gen 0 night vision. But if you want to use these, they're very good for the wide IR spectrum. So, you know, if somebody has some IR pulsing thing, that like an IR strobe, they think they can only see with their very, very expensive night vision, this can probably see it even better. Okay, cool. That'd be good items. If more are available, I know some people who want to get these, because I've explained to them, you know, they're not proper night vision as you expect night vision to be. But if you want to mess around with an IR torch, they're probably the best ones available for a cheap price. Where is my CM4? Probably in one of my storage containers, so I'm not going to rush and get it out for you. No, the hand lamp kit wasn't in the stuff Stug sent me, Eintons, but that's all right, because like I said, I've got some really good modern IR torches. Like, you know, like saying, I've got one thing as primitive as this with IR filters on one of these torches, and what I had turn up today, which I bought specifically for it on Hype's recommendation, is the Night Fox one in 940 nanometer IR. So to my eye, I can barely see that's on, but to the to this device, it's pretty damn good. Because yeah, the if you compare the brightness of each, this one, it will never work with the webcam, but this one looks like a bright red LED to my eye. This one looks like a very, very dull LED. Digital stuff picks both up fine, but yeah, same Pillfish. I swapped an Avon M50 for one from Stug because Stug wanted my M50 and I wanted one of these. That was a good exchange. But all right, Peach. Chernobyl Man is probably because there's this new lamp here. Look, the one where I can change the colors of it and I can adjust the brightness. So, you know, my old lamp died. So, and as in not the bulb went, the entire fucking lamp went. And one of the wires is getting a bit dodgy in the inside, so I didn't want to repair it. So I've gone for a better modern LED lamp now. No, I don't like the M10. The M10M is all right. The regular M10, no, I don't like it. Yeah, Claire, I explained that to Stug when I sold it him, you know, or traded it with him, because that was why I wanted to get rid of my M50. It's one of my most modern masks, but as a civilian, good luck getting the filters. I'm not sure what you're on about, Radiac Maniac. Yeah, Grant, there's probably something in the name of it or whatever that YouTube has decided is like a banned word, full stop. Yeah, as I was saying, Algenaro, you can do that, because I'm running it, when I was running it earlier, if I show you, it's an awkward place where you can't see it. Let me put it down. I was running it earlier. Let's see if I can turn the chair around so you can see it. Right, I was running it earlier. Let me turn this light back off while I do this. I was running it off of that. And if I'm running it off of this, the variable power supply, I'll tell you what voltage it goes to when it actually kicks in. I can actually wear these in my glasses as well, which is pretty cool. Right, so at the current, I'll just flick that IR torch on, so I can definitely tell they're working. Yeah, that's almost too bright for it. Right, so that is 13 volts and it works fine. I'll tell you at what point actually it powers off. So let me just cut the power to it again, and then yeah, so I've cut the power now. What I'll do is I'll slowly turn it up until they actually come on. So at 6.8 volts, it's not working. Now we're at about 8 volts. I can hear the transformer working in the back, but it's not lighting anything up with it. Okay. About 9.5 volts. At 9.5 volts, it's very dim, but I can see through it. Actually, I reckon these are set to 24 volts, Stug, your unit. Yeah, these work better at 24 volts. Yeah, these transfer volts, not the 12 volts. Yeah, when I tried it at 9 volts, I couldn't see shit through it, Stug, but it somehow switched to the... Yeah, because that's much brighter now. I've seen somebody that's actually weirdly done that, Hans, not that there'd be much point using these as a fast helmet. Right, so let's have a look at this bad boy then, because somewhere in here there will be the thing you can flick it between 12 and 24 volts, I believe. Well, I've done it before with the PNV-57A items, so I'm assuming, let's, before I do anything, I won't do it live on stream. I don't know, I've never opened that, but I know on the one of the other models, there was simply something in there, wasn't there, that you switch between 12 and 24. Is it the same on this one? Oh, so it's this cap, yeah? I think mine's been waxed over, but let's have a look. So... yeah, I can see what's going on. Yeah, that's a bit waxed over, so I'll need to clean it out. But yeah, there's on there, I can see it says 12 in one point. Yeah, and 24. So it's which side you connect the pin over, isn't it? Yeah, you align the switch and screw it back on. So I'll need to get my screwdriver out. But yeah, I think that's set to 24 at the moment. Yeah, because it's 24 volt horizontal, 12 volt vertical, and it's set horizontal. Yes, Claire, you can, but I don't think it's going to give me a lobotomy. But yeah, I don't know how visible that's going to be, but I reckon that's set to 24 volt, not 12 volt. So yeah, Stug, you'd have got better performance out of this, sorry to break it to you, if you had that switch set to the other way around. I'll do that later, and I can probably run it fine off a 9 volt, but I've bought a 12 volt supply for it. But yeah, it was definitely pulling 24 volts to work properly on there, because the closer I went to 24 volts, the brighter it was going and the less noise the transformer was making. I've not got any radium clocks that read over a millisievert Radiac Maniac. I think I've only got 1 or 2 aircraft dials that even get close to that. Yeah, I could tell it was very clean, but yeah, I'll later on I'll change that to 12 volt, then it'll be a bit more usable with, you know, standard inputs. I don't think I have anything to do with elections or British Gas. Are you going to say electrician then? But no, I'm not an electrician either. You can probably tell because I was asking Einton where the transformer was. Well, I know this is a transformer, but still. Right, I'll switch that to 12 volt later. Because the weird one is the Soviet stuff was 12 volt and 26 volt on a load of their stuff. Because I found out when I was opening up and playing around with my DP3 over there, that it actually had a thing that you could set it to 12 volt. And I was like, what was it on? 26 volts. Oh, okay then. So yeah, I've now switched up to 12 volt. So when I eventually wire it back up, you can run it easier. No, I've not seen those people Radiac Maniac, but they're fucking idiots, aren't they? Because yeah, on that Geiger counter, the Polish one in the background, it's a lot easier. I don't know how visible it is on there, but you can actually see on that one, it's literally got a thing that says 12 or 24 volts. Yeah, weirdly, Brighto, I've seen somebody said about that in an old Russian picture, a bit like one of those where it showed somebody breathing through a filter with a torn mask. But yeah, on this particular thing, the Polish DPS-68 or whatever it's called, the onboard vehicle Geiger, there's a switch there that says 12 and 24 volts. You take the cover off, and then it's like a thing that you just pull out. So if it's that way to that way, it's 12 volts. If it's that way to that way, it's 24 volts, for which vehicle system you're using it in. Quite clever. But yeah, so you can do the same thing with the transformers. But weirdly, my Soviet DP3 is 12 volts or 26 volts. I don't know which Soviet vehicles use 26 volts, but apparently they did. Let me just Google it. Soviet 26 volt vehicle. Underwater research vehicles the Soviets used are apparently 26 volts, but I can't remember. Were BMPs 26 volts? I really don't know. All right, I'm blocking anybody talking about illegal shit. Don't do it, full stop. I've already blocked him. Radiac Maniac. People who say about that only get an instant block. I mean, it'd be a Darwin Award for him, Flazzy, wouldn't it? But I think they're doing it to try and associate me with illegal activities because they're scumbags. I think that's all it is. All right, cool, Claire. I know the ones you mean. The green blower unit I know because Marcus lent me one at one point. But yeah, so Tomorrow, I'm going to try and get a video done tomorrow, but it might be tomorrow evening it comes out because I'm going to have to film a video on it in the evening. Because there wasn't a video today, but that was because I didn't have time to do a video on this because it came today. I want to do, I want to do a review video on the PNV-57A and explain what it does and doesn't do. Because, you know, the fact that lots of people seem to think this is actually, like, really good quality night vision. Other people are like, oh, it's a shit unit because they don't know what it does. And I also want to do a Gen 0 versus a Gen 1 versus a Gen 1 Plus versus a Gen 2 versus a Gen 2 Plus versus a Gen 3 night vision comparison video, where I have it in a very dark room with a little bit of light as a sort of control factor, and then show, you know, the camera where all the exposure settings are set so they don't fuck about, as in, you know, like keep trying to auto expose or auto adjust on every single night vision I put in front of the camera. I want to basically show what each night vision sees through the night vision with an 850 nanometer IR on, and night vision with a 940 nanometer IR on. Grant, you're not blocked. I can see your comment there. You're just typing stuff YouTube doesn't like, evidently. Yeah, Induct Tea Cake, I know, but I've actually got a 12-volt supply coming for this thing, so I can just literally have a thing on my belt that has a battery in and a 12-volt cigarette lighter thing. Suit near the sign, that's a French right armor suit, a pretty retro one, where it's like foam and plastic as opposed to just plastic like modern right armor is. Can you get an A2P3 filter, Stuart? Because an A2P3 gives you pretty good protection against organic vapor. That's what the 2 means in it. And the P3 gives you good protection against particles. You're always going to want something that gives you particle protection. Yeah, Grant, there's not much I can do about that. There was a comment I thought I was meant to be responding to from Soviet Gas Mask Guy like a week ago, but I can't remember ever seeing his comment come up unless it did. Let me go on the video and I'll read the comments and see if it shows up now. No, his comment's not there. That's weird. Unless it's on hold for review. No, his comment never showed up. That's weird. I'll reply to somebody who's thing. But yeah, I'll do that after this stream. But yeah, I know there's some people asking about one of the videos that I made to private after we did it, and then people seem to think they've been blocked or whatever. But yeah, I'll be going off in a minute because, as I said, this is not going to be a full-length stream tonight. But anyway, tomorrow there will be a video up at some point when I get a chance to put it together and edit it on the PNV-57A, showing it in action. Braden, he's been trying to post it for a while, but every time his message never comes through. So whatever's in the word, he's trying to put, YouTube's shadow banning it. No, Chernobyl man, I have not been electrocuted yet. If I was electrocuted, technically electrocution means you die. So unless I'm a ghost, woo, I'm blatantly not been electrocuted. If you mean, have I got electric shocks or things before? Yes. Have I ever had a dangerous electric shock? No. Most of the shocks I've had have been high voltage, very, very low milliamp shocks, you know, that make you jolt, and that's it. You know, if I'd be very, very fucking careful if I was playing around with stuff, you know, that had a potential to actually kill me with electricity. You know, I have got like plastic sticks and stuff and moving wires if it's at a live like voltage, but when it's like, oh, it's something that's going to give you a jolt and that's it, I'm not really that fussed, you know. I'm more worried about damaging the circuit at that point. Ah, thank you, Thomas. That completely explains it. Yeah, because I knew that you could get 12 and 24 volt stuff, but I was just wondering why the Soviet stuff said like 26 volt or whatever it was, as opposed to 12 or 24 volt. Ah, that's cool, Werrell. Have you seen the Soviets at one point did the PNV-57Es on a binocular set? So it's the PNV-57s, but like in a binocular format, like the same tubes and circuitry. And then it's got a big transformer unit at the top of the binoculars. What about the ARFA, Sergeant? The French ARFA, it's not a very good mask. I've already talked about it. Speaking of shocks, does everybody know the film Shock Treatment? I'm disappointed in anybody who's not watched Shock Treatment. Well, the MP5 is good, Radiac Maniac. The MP5 is a licensed copy of the ARFA, but it's better than the ARFA. That's the whole point. I've had a 240 volt shock at one point, Richard. I'm trying to remember what gave me a 240 volt shock. It hurt. Like 240 volts definitely hurts a lot more, doesn't it? And obviously the main danger is you getting caught on that. But I guess it didn't do anything with my heart. I think it was more like, I'm trying to remember what bloody did it now, but it was definitely like, I think it was a damaged wire on an electrical appliance that did that. It wasn't like me playing about with wires. It was literally, you know, like where I touched something that, like it was a lamp or something. I think the switch was damaged. So the 240 volt, you know, hit my hand, knocked my hand away like that, you know, gave me a pretty fucking big jump. And then I threw the lamp away because clearly I wasn't going to play about with that anymore. Yeah, I've had a 2 kilovolt shock, Radiac Maniac. That's pretty fun because the rate meters, you can dial up to 2 kV and give yourself a shock that way with it. All right, Daniel's DJ and audio, all's good. Well, yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show's the original, though, isn't it, Pillfish? But yeah, I like Shock Treatment. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. It's not, obviously, it's not a good thing. I know a lot of people have had accidents, you know, electricity, but to be fair, if it was converted well enough, it could be done. But bear in mind, some have pressure systems that aren't meant to work like gas masks. Up to you. Totally not Ukraine. Which one do you like the look of more? Go for that one. Yeah, exactly, inductive TK. That's my point, because Geiger counters are low current. You know, they're very, very low milliamp, but they're just high voltage. So it makes your arm go whoop, and, you know, gives you a bit of a shock, and that's it. But yeah, mils kill, volts jolt. But the point is, the higher current, as you say, of a circuit, the more dangerous it is. Microamp rather than milliamp, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But the point is that, you know, I mean, Braden, America has 120 volt, doesn't it, on nearly everything, except for kitchen stuff, which is at proper 240 volt. Yeah, so mice had chewed through your cables, you picked it up and yep. What, as in like multimeters, Pixel? My multimeters don't output enough that you can get shock from them. That'd be cool if they could, but yeah, in general, I've only had shocks from like messing about with old electronics I've opened, you know, like battery powered ones where I've switched them off, a capacitor's still holding a charge, and then, you know, when you touch it. Yeah. I watch a lot of Electro Boom's video inductive tea cake. I don't normally pick up enough of the technical stuff, but I know everybody normally in the world prefers 240 volt for some reason. Is that the ones made by Razer, Claire? The ones that are the fucking gaming mouse company? If so, I've seen them. They look like a fucking joke. I've done 9 volts on my mouth, Daniel. If I had a 9 volt battery handy here, I would do, but it's in the other room when I was testing the PNV. Salam alaikum says, if that's pronounced right, hello to you as well. Well, yeah, in any situation, would I wear an old filter if the filter would save my life and there's a very slight risk of asbestos leaking? Yes, of course I would. The green one gives off a lot more tooth fairy if you're on about the Israeli ones. When I tested both, the yellow one wasn't very good. The green one moved a lot more air, but not as much as like military Papa units. What about Lucky Gold Star? Is that Claire? Oh, the UV things. I've only seen the fucking Razer, like Razer gaming ones. You know, where they're like, it's a reusable mask. It's like, yeah, well, you can get fucking loads of masks with replaceable filters. That's not, you know. Oh, hello to you then, Iron, if I'm saying your name right. People are welcome here, whatever their religion is or whatever, you know, I don't care. As long as people are nice to each other, I don't care. The easiest way I could give myself an electric shock right now if I wanted to, and I'm not going to, is turning on one of those and poking my finger into the ionization chamber socket. That's the easiest way to get an electric shock. You could make a homemade Papa blower, Tooth Fairy, if you get a camping mattress inflator. Make it so it can have a 40mm thing threaded on it, like use silicone adhesive or whatever to attach a 40mm filter screw input, and then you can have one that runs on D-cell batteries and like moves so much air it almost chokes you with the amount of air it's throwing down your face. Oh, you're saying in the US the military vehicles are still 24? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Not at the moment, Chernobyl man, because bear in mind I've been getting rid of stuff recently for the most part. Not buying more stuff. Stuff like that's the exception behind me. And that was actually a trade, so I didn't buy that. I traded a gas mask for it. So each of us will be happy with that transaction. But the point is, for the most part, I'm trying to reduce the clutter, not get more. Yeah, Rich. Yeah, is that the one where when it discharges, it makes a really loud bang? But yeah, photonic induction did some crazy funny shit, didn't he? I think I managed it all right earlier, Stug, but that's probably because you had everything quite neat in there. With the stuff in there, that would be a lot more difficult. Yeah, I don't really know, Josh. I just found it cool and interesting. There's two up for sale at the moment. ACM, neither I can afford. One's going up for sale in Wales. That's a more interesting one. Yeah, that would work, Claire. But yeah, there's one going up in sale for Wales, which is a vandalised civil defence bunker, which is fucking cool. So the civil defence bunker, I think the guide price for that's about 40 grand. And if you had 40 grand plus maybe 10 to 20 grand for restoring it, that would be a really, really nice one, that civil defence bunker that's for sale. Because bear in mind, that was room for quite a few people. You know, it had like a telephone exchange type room in it, communications room. You know, it had like briefing room type bunkers. It was one of those bunkers. And in Cornwall, there's an ROC post going up for sale. I think it's on the 18th of this month. But the ROC post, they want 25 to 30 grand for. And although it's meant to be an auction, they're requiring you to prove you have 25 to 30 grand before they let you bid on it. So yeah, I'm not bidding on that one. But yeah, the 40k one though, Claire, is actually a proper like multi-person bunker though. It's not a single person bunker. It's one that was, you know, for permanently housing people basically, and control rooms and stuff like that. It's not Calvert and Hatch size, but it's that kind of bunker, you know, where they had literally everything in it you'd need to survive months and months, just basically eating canned food, realizing how bad it's going to be when you have to go out into the, you know, Fred's-like environment outside. That sounds good, Tooth Fairy. On which one, Thomas? The Welsh one, I don't. The problem is, like I said, with that one, I can't really afford that because I'm not at 40k. So even if they did it for the amount of money I've got, I wouldn't be able to live in it until I'd spent a lot of money restoring it because it's a much bigger one that's kind of a health and safety nightmare. The Cornwall one, just Google, Chernobyl man, Google Cornwall ROC post, and there's one on there where the guide price is 25 to 30 grand they're putting up for auction. I don't know what I mean by mask art GP5. Cigarette mask. I don't smoke anymore. Why would I want a cigarette mask? Anyway, I'll be off. If Weapon Collector's on later, I'll be watching his stuff. So see you all later. I already said Inductive TK. Google it, and the Welsh one. Sorry, the Cornwall one I think is St Agnes. The Wales one. Let me just link you to an article on it. It's in a Cardiff suburb apparently, but it's not actually in Cardiff. But there you go, Inductive Tea Cake. Read that. Sadly, none of my friends at the moment, Claire, have any money for stuff like that because I've talked to them about it, and most of them are struggling not to become homeless at the moment, so they've got no chance of. I don't even have DayZ, Riley, so I can't do a DayZ stream. I don't have DayZ. Cool, Tooth Fairy. Anyway, yeah, see you all. I am going to clean up the broken glass from that particular infrared thing. But otherwise, I will be on Weapon Collector's stream later if he's on. Right, see you all later. Bye.